Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's live session, we are going to start with Terraform language basic, the foundation you must understand before writing any Terraform configurations. We will go step by step and we will cover and lots of things there. Okay, so let's begin. And in our first step, what we are going to study is that our Terraform language basic. In this step, we'll understand, the building blocks of Terraform language, and this form of Terraform, foundation of everything we write in Terraform. Let's discuss about the block. If we'll see here, yeah, I'll take the code. Resource group in Azure Terraform. Okay, I'll take the code so that you can understand it. First of all, take the provider. So I created that main.tf here with the today's date inside that today's date folder. I have main.tf. Okay, in this main.tf, what I have done, I have taken my Terraform block. Okay, you can see here. The blocks are the primary structural units in Terraform, and every configurations you write, whether it is a resource or provider, variable, module, output, comes inside a block only. So I already explained you so many types that it is a block. Terraform is a block. You can see I have minimized this Terraform block, and if I'll expand this, you can see another block that is required provider block. It start from line number 2 and ending with the line number 7. Okay, and if I'll take the another block, and that is the resource group block, resource block. Yeah, here I'll copy it and I'll paste over here. Okay, so I already explained you lots of things yesterday, and you have to watch the previous video if you want. Okay, and I already explained you that the about the argument. Okay, if I'll come to that here, and you can see the argument. Okay, so arguments are settings inside a block. What these are the settings inside a block, and they define how a resource should behave. Okay, so we have seen that location, name, managed by tags. Some are optional, some are required. Okay, so these are the arguments. And if I'll come to that attributes, okay, so attributes allows you to access information about a resource after it is created. Once the resource is created, okay, with the help of these arguments, okay, so after that only the attribute works. Okay, and if you see inside that attributes, okay, and it takes the information of id, and you can see the definition of this attribute. In addition to the argument listed above, what are the argument we are passing? Okay, okay, listed above, the following attribute are exported. Okay, once the resource is created, then only the following attributes are exported. Like, in if I'll say that for resource group, the id of the resource group is exported. Okay, and that is the attribute. Okay, so if I'll I'll open that draw.io. Yeah, I'll open that. Okay, core building blocks of Terraform language. So, what I told you, the first one, that is the block. Okay, and what is this? The blocks. It is the primary structural unit in Terraform, and without this, you can't do anything. Yeah, this is the blocks, and you have seen that argument. And I also set a example so that you can understand it. Okay, this is the blocks. Now, if I'll arguments, and we have seen that attribute. Attribute. Okay. So what is that argument? Argument are the setting inside a block. What is the argument? It is the setting inside the block, and I already showed you that. And they define how a resource should behave. This argument. Okay. Like I'll set example here. That is, this is the one argument, and this is the second argument for this block. These are the arguments. Okay. If I'll come to the attribute, okay, so attribute allow you to access information about a resource after it is created, and I'll write it here for you guys. And what is that format for this? So you can see here Yeah. This is the resource underscore type dot resource underscore name, then dot the attribute name. Okay, this is the format I can say here. At and if you want example, then you can write here for this block. I can say for this block. Okay, so Azure RM resource group. Okay, Azure RM resource group. First I have to write Azure RM resource group, then the resource name. Okay, and then the attribute name. If I'll write here as a location. Okay, so that in return this attribute, what it will give, this will return the location of the resource group after the deployment. Okay, means once the resource is created, then if we ask for the attribute by this example, then we will get, okay, we will return the location of the resource group after the deployment. So now you understand this block, argument and attribute. Okay, now come to the meta argument. Okay, so we have meta argument here. Meta arguments modify the behavior of a resource. So I'll write here. Okay, it modify the behavior of resource. Okay, and common meta arguments are, I'll write here. Okay, okay, count and for each. This is the meta argument. Okay, count, it create the multiple instance we can say, and for each loop over a list or map. Okay, so I'll set an example so that you can understand it. Let I'll make it little bigger. Yeah, like this we are using count. Okay, and if I'll talk about the for each, then we can use, like this. Okay, so this is the count and this is the for each. Yeah, now you understand the meta argument. Okay, now come to that, the identifiers. Okay, if I'll talk about identifiers here, I'll say identifiers. Okay, so identifiers are names given to resources or variables or locals. Okay, I'll give you the example so that you can understand it. Yeah, here. Okay, Azure RM underscore resource underscore group dot example. So you know that uh, Azure RM underscore resource underscore group is a resource type. Okay, this is the resource type. Okay, and that example is a identifier. Okay, the resource name. Okay, and identifier help Terraform uniquely identify items inside your configurations. Okay, like if in future if Terraform want to identify, so Terraform is going to identify by this name only. Okay, like I already told you in this yeah, here the roam underscore rg underscore one. Here if a Terraform want to identify, so for this block roam underscore rg. If Terraform want to identify this block, then roam underscore stagey underscore account. So these are the identifiers. Okay, now come to the comment. I'm going the from basic, too much basic, so that you can understand, guys, and in future you don't have any problem while going through that. Okay, so comments are used for documentation and readability. Okay, and we have that I'll write here. Used for documentation and readability. Okay, and what we can write, we have types. Okay, for this comments, we have has, we have a double backward slash, and we have black slash with star, like that we have. So I'll give you the things so that you can understand it. single line we can use. Like if I'll tell you here, look here, if I want to comment it, we have this option. Okay, and we have this option star, and then we have star, and then this. So the full line get commented from here to here. Okay, and shortcut I already explained you day before yesterday, and that is the control plus question mark. If we'll select the line, and if you put the control plus question mark, it get automatic commented. Okay, and we use this comments for our documentation and the readability purpose. Okay, like that. Okay, if I'll put, okay, so we can see that this line get commented with this one. So you can use in which method you are comfortable. Okay, and in comment, if you're writing something, it is not getting executed and all, so it Terraform only read as comment only. Okay, so we have seen this. Now I already explained you about that the syntax structure of Terraform. Okay, syntax structure of Terraform I already explained you about that. This is the block type, this is the block label. Okay, this is the block label. Okay, and these are the identifiers, and this is the expressions and all. Okay, like this we already seen that, so I'm not going on that. Now the block type, we have so many of block. Okay, so I'll let you explain one by one. Yeah, block you have seen. Yeah, block one here. I'll write here as a Terraform top level blocks. Okay, so what are the we have so many of blocks. Okay, in Terraform, but as a top level I can write as a, yeah, that is Terraform block. You already seen. Okay, then we have provider block, we have provider block. Okay, and provider block configure the configures cloud providers like Azure, AWS, or GCP. What is it is? Okay, that is the provider block. Now we have resource block. And this defines the actual cloud resources like virtual machines, VNet, storage, okay, etc. Then we have input variable blocks, okay, input variable blocks block, okay. Then we have output block, output values block, okay. Then we have local values block, local values block, we have data source block, data sources block, okay. We have modules block, okay. We have so many blocks, okay. We have dynamic block, we have so many block is there, okay. But these are the main block, I can say. And I'll give you the example of each block so that you can understand it and you can feel it, okay. The Terraform block, okay. Let I'll go in Terraform registry only. Terraform block, Terraform block, I can copy from here. You already seen it many times, okay. Still I am showing you so that you can get it. Okay, this is the Terraform block. The provider block, okay. Then resource block, this is the resource block, okay. Input variable block, everything you can get it from Terraform registry, okay. output block. I'll show you the real uses of this blocks and all. So first here you will get the idea what it is. Okay, and we have local values block. This is the local values block. Okay, data source block. Okay, then we have module block. Okay, these are the blocks we have. Yeah. So Terraform top level blocks. These are the blocks you can see here, and many more blocks is there. Okay, so now come to that. That let I'll write the code for you so that you can understand it here. Yeah. Now we have some different thing here, and that is the backend block here. We have taken the backend block so that our state file will be stored in this storage account under container, and that is the container name. Okay, so before uh, keeping your state file in the cloud, you need to create these resources manually or by the script, but you have to do it the before. Okay, now I'll explain you the whole code. you know uh, in this block, you know uh, this block sets up Terraform requirement and the backend settings. Okay, and I already explained you that this required version is 1.0.00 or greater or higher. Okay, and that required provider, this required provider This is the specific the provider. Okay, Azure RM in this case. Okay, Azure RM in this case, and using the version 2.0 or newer from the Hasikoff registry. Okay, it will take it from there, and that is the backend Azure RM. It defines that Azure storage as the backend to store the Terraform state file securely. Okay, and in this backend Azure RM, we have resource group name here. Okay, and this resource group name specifies the Azure resource group to contain the storage. Okay, and storage account name. This storage account name of the storage account where the state files will be stored. Okay, and that is the container name and the container within the storage account to store that state file. Okay, and this is the key, the specific key like file name I can say to store the Terraform state. Okay, and we have the provider block. Yeah, this one, provider block. Okay, this is configure the Azure provider for Terraform. Okay, Azure provider for Terraform, and these features I'll write here the features one. Okay, features, what is that block means? It is also a block. Okay, it is ending with that curly braces and closing with the curly braces. So it initializes the Azure RM provider with the default setting for the Azure features, whatever the default Azure features it have. So it initialize that settings only. Okay, and understand this the resource block. Okay, and this resource block to create a resource group. Okay, for what? To create a resource group. Okay, I already explained you that the resource group, everything. Okay, yeah. So these are the things here. Okay, so that's all for the day. Tomorrow we'll meet again at the same time. Okay, okay, guys. Thank you.